Welcome to the experiment. Here's how this goes. We are here to feel our feelings. The only thing the experiment ever is an invitation to feel what you are feeling right now. I've started calling this the experiment lab because I actually make invitations to do arbitrary whatever things as a place to practice or a place to experiment with the experiment. But really, 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 in the end, the only thing this is an invitation to feel what you're feeling right now. In the experiment, I find it to be a delightfully weird thing for several reasons. One of the reasons it's weird is this is not about having a name for your feelings. So you don't have to say, oh, that is sadness or anger, or that's Matilda, or that's Henry. You simply feel your feelings. The other thing I think is really cool and weird about this, and by the way, weird is awesome in my book. So this is for big, gigantic feelings. This is for small feelings. It's for really intense feelings. It's for really petty feelings, which, by the way, I realize probably a lot of my petty feelings also feel gigantic. So I said gigantic and petty, but it might be gigantically petty or tiny petty. It's for things you might call a positive feeling, something you really like feeling. Which, by the way, I've learned in doing the experiment, I'm often not good at taking a moment to feel those positive ones. I'm like, oh, there it is, and whoop, off I go. Instead of like, oh, wow. By the way, if you think of it or if you feel it, the next time you laugh hard, take a moment to feel the feeling of laughing hard. It is extraordinary. Anyway, so it's for those things you might call positive and those things you might call negative feelings. It's also for things that are not, everything I've described so far is in the world of like emotion feelings. It's not just for that. It's also for bodily feelings like a sore shoulder, a sore neck, goosebumps, the release of tension, right? So anything you're feeling in your body, actual physical feelings, it could be the feeling of doing this. So that's a definition of a feeling. And then the third definition of a feeling, when I say the experiment is simply an invitation to feel your feelings starting right now, is those things that I close my eyes trying to come up with the words for it. Intuition, energy, a sense of something, a knowing. So when I say feel your feelings, that's a third kind of feeling I'm talking about, is that knowingness or that intuition or that gut or the energy of a person or the energy of a space. I was recently in an Airbnb and my daughter opened the basement door and then shut it right away and said, that's creepy down there. That feeling of something is creepy fits in there. What else do I want to say? I will be inviting you to feel your feelings. And if you feel like sharing, I will open it up to share. Please do. If you think you need to share, please don't, because this is all about feeling your feelings and going with your feelings. I also want to say this. While you're feeling your feelings, or at any point during this call, or by the way, in life at any point, there are times that you might, and it might be that you feel a feeling. Well, actually, let me back up a little bit. A cool thing that I love about the experiment that is weird about it is that many people experience it as being meditation-like, or kind of like meditating, or kind of like mindfulness. In every mindfulness or meditation practice I've ever gone to learn, the instructions were, notice your thoughts and ignore them and let them pass by, or be separate from your thoughts. In the experiment, that's not your job, because the experiment was discovered by me. And anytime I've been told to ignore my thoughts, what my thoughts do is they wrestle me to the ground and they push my shoulders in the ground and they sit on my chest and they be a thought. So there's no getting around it. So for this, the invitation is notice your thoughts if they show up, which if you're like me, they will, and feel the feeling of your thoughts. That's what the invitation is. So I said that. Now I'm going to say there may be thoughts that come through that don't feel like they are your thoughts. They feel like they come from something else, or they come from some like, boing, I know that, or that is a truth, or that is something to do something about. I've had a hard time coming up with words for this. I also another way I say it is a thought that feels a little different, or it has a different texture, or it might sound a little different. Something I've been playing with the experiment is when those thoughts come through that feel different or that sound different or behave different, I've been playing a game called Act on It. And luckily, none of the thoughts have been like, strip off all your clothes and run down the street, you know? So if that was the thought, I think I might say, not today, thought. But it's usually something like, call this person, check your email, read this book, you know, a totally harmless kind of thing. So I tend to just play the game of, I'll follow it. So during this time, if you have one of those thoughts, which I may or may not, these things don't happen every single minute, every single day, take a moment, write it down, or go do the thing. My highest goal in this time together is that feeling your feelings becomes so incredible that you turn down the volume on me and you just sit with your feelings for a while. So because of that, please set a timer for 10 minutes to the next hour so that if my greatest goal, my greatest vision, my greatest dream comes true and you get lost in your stuff, you'll have an alarm that wakes you up or reminds you to go back to whatever you thought was the next plan for your day. While you set that timer, I'm going to throw my tea bag in the garbage and I'll be right back. Okay. All right, let's do an experiment, everyone. Okay, also just the three humans who are here are so freaking cool and awesome. I just want to fucking not do this and hang out with all of you, but we're not going to do that because that's not what you hung out. That's not what you came here for. So I just know that our silly hearts are all hanging out doing something right now. Actually, no, we're hanging out doing this. That's what we're doing. But someday the four of us will be in the same room. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's do our first experiment here in the lab. Okay, let's do this. Feel the feeling of the four of us doing this together. And we'll do that for some amount of time that I will find out here in just a moment. Oh my gosh, when my timer decides to tell me. Okay, we're going to do that for 2 minutes. Feel the feeling of the four of us doing this together. Oh, my timer doesn't want to be a timer. Oh, how weird. It wants 30 minutes, but I'm overriding that. We'll do 2 minutes here. That was 2 minutes of feeling the feeling of us doing this together. And I realized I forgot something. The invitation is only always to feel whatever's there, and there's no requirement of sticking with discipline. I know I personally felt the feeling of us doing this together for some amount of time. I'm going to call it 21 seconds. And then my brain was on to the next thing and the next thing. And then it came back to this and then it went somewhere else. And then it came back to this and went all over. In the experiment, you don't have to force yourself to stay. Oh, this is what we're doing. No, you're simply feeling what shows up. So if I invite you at any point to feel the feeling of something and your brain or body is like, oh, hell no, perfect. Go feel whatever the other thing is that shows up. Does anyone have a question or an experience they'd like to share from that experiment? I learned some time ago that there are cultures where you don't meet the person you're marrying. I mean, we've all heard that. But there was one specific one where when you meet them, you also don't speak to each other for some period of time. And we're sort of doing that, although now some of us are talking, but this is such a weird and different way to meet people, just simply feeling that the feeling of them, even not being able to see them. How weird and wonderful. Because in a way, when we first meet people, even though we can see them, we're feeling them anyway. We're trying to feel each other out. But then we also see each other and, try to look a certain way and all the things we try to do. So, ooh, wow. Okay, groovy. Some of you know this about me. I have like 400 business models in my head, and one of them, all of which I don't do, and I should just like post somewhere publicly because some of them are actually good ideas. And this one I'm going to say is a great idea, but probably wouldn't make any money, but who cares? I think there should be a television channel that is just puppies playing 24 hours a day. Wouldn't that be freaking amazing? And actually, you don't even need a TV for that anymore. It's probably called just hover on that on your Instagram and then you get it. But anyway, see, I don't even have to do it. It already exists. Okay. Um, let's do another experiment. Here's the experiment. We're going to do 3 minutes. The invitation is this: to identify something you really want, like it's a full body yes, and feel the feeling of it being true already today. So identify a thing you really want. I don't care if it's tiny or gigantic, and feel the feeling of it already being true. And we're going to play around in this one for 3 minutes. Here we go. That was 3 minutes on this experiment. Who has a question or an experience they feel like sharing from that one? That one was weirdly impossible for me. Oh, I see one person saying, yep, me too. Yeah. Woo. Okay. Um, I have a person in my life who was recently telling me that when she gets intuitive senses of things, they come through with in the form of like sounds. And then my other friend said, "Oh yeah, mine comes through as images." And I was like, "Holy shit!" So why not? Why like thoughts? Feel the feeling of thoughts. Yes, feel the feeling of images. Boom. New moment in the experiment. Feel the feeling of sounds. Feel the feeling of what else would there be? Smells, I guess. Okay. I think that's going to be our next experiment. Does anybody else have something they want to share before we go feel the feeling of a smell, which I'm totally mind boggled about? Okay, let's try it. We're going to do it for 1 minute. We're going to find something to smell and we're going to feel the feeling of that smell. I'm going to give you a moment. Let's see. Does my tea make? Oh, I have a dog here. I can smell his paws. They smell so good. Okay, so you're going to not see me here for a minute. All right, find something to smell that's good or bad. I recommend good, but why not bad? Sure, whatever. All smells are smells. And feel the feeling of the smell. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, that was a minute of the first time ever. Feel the feeling of a smell. Who has a question or an experience they feel like sharing? That's so perfect. That's so perfect. Oh, I love it. And funny. I want to get that candle for everybody I see leave a company. Amazing. Anyone else have something they'd like to share or a question? Mm. Okay, I got to take a note on that one. Smell. Who knew? Who knew? Beautiful. Mm. Okay, let's do the next one. For those of you who've been here before, I used to always print out a whole bunch of stuff and then I'd go off the paper and I'm experimenting with just seeing what shows up. So this is new and terrifying. Okay. Second time I'm trying it. And fun and weird and all the awesomeness. Okay, we did smell. Let's play around with image. Um, we'll do this for a minute. Here's my invitation to you. Um, Relax your mind and whatever the first image that pops in, or don't relax your mind for that matter, the first image that pops into your head, feel the feeling of whatever it is. We'll do 1 minute feeling the feeling of an image that has popped into your head. That was a minute. Who has a question or an experience they feel like sharing from that one? I think the person who wants to share something is me. The first image that showed up in my head is a piece of artwork that I used to live with when I was in grad school, and my grad school roommate is here today. It was the woman with the pearl earring is what popped into my head, by Vermeer. Is that his name? Yeah. Um, and that image keeps popping into my life over and over and over lately. And I felt that image and it was really informative. Wow. So thank you for introducing me to that image and getting, oh, I got to play with that today. If any of you have not checked out that, I'm hoping you're all doing it right now. It's so freaking amazing. And feeling it is a mind boggler. So, well, actually, I think that's the invitation. Let's all look at that image. Go Google. I think it's called Hi, person who just arrived. We're just starting an invitation just as you're arriving. Please go Google. I think the name of the picture by Vermeer. I think I spelled it correctly there. Probably not. There might be Vermeer. So go find her. This is the invitation to feel the feeling of that image for a minute. If you're having a hard time finding it, oh shoot, I know Abby, hopefully you're not driving. If you are not driving, Abby, just imagine this and it'll be perfect. I don't even know how you're doing this in the car. Let's not ask that. I'm assuming you're being very safe. Okay, so I'm assuming you have her. I'm going to set a timer for a minute. Feel the feeling of that image. Dang. Okay, that was a minute of hanging out with and feeling the girl with the pearl earring. Who has a question or an experience they want to share from that experiment? Yes. Oh, let's cancel our days. Actually, wait. I think most museums are closed on Mondays. But, well, okay, we'll cancel another day and go do that. I love that. Yeah. Mm, awesome. Anyone else have an experience they want to share or feel like sharing? Um, Thank you for sharing that. I hope you all, well, I'm going to say it this way. I hope you all heard what I heard and what Kristen just shared, this sense of like, and correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but like your relationship to things. Like, did I sit there with you? Did I paint you? Did I not? Well, someone else did, but I did. And I'm not saying the exact words that Kristen said, and not even all the exact same concepts to kind of to pull the thread on that. The reason I'm pulling that thread is, at least in my life, and I think in lots of people's lives, you have these moments where it's like, wait, what is my relationship to this thing? Mm-hmm. Is it real? I remember as a kid first bumping into that when I would say a word so many times that I started to think, what does that word actually mean? Did all of you do that? I don't know. I think, like that. Wait a minute, what does that even mean? Why do we agree that is a thing? Wait a minute, what is that? Right? Like this kind of thing. So my invitation, and this is kind of amazing. Well, no, actually, we'll see if that's the invitation. Does anybody else have an experience or a question they want to share around the girl with the pearl earring and feeling that piece of art? Okay. I didn't want to cut anybody off there. Well, I geek out all over the place. Okay. I forgot what I was going to have us do. Oh, I remember. Okay. Okay, just this morning, I was looking at some orca cards, actually, these cards that some friends and I made that are inspired by whales. And I got this one. It's called Be Aware of Awareness. And it's what we're talking about here. The invitation on this card is to look at an object and be aware of the object, and then be aware of your awareness of the object, and then be aware of your awareness of the object. So hopefully that's making sense. Here's the invitation is to do that exercise. Here's what I chose as my object. It was nothing very exciting. And then I actually refocused to the dog, which actually made it more complicated. So I would recommend benign items, lids, mouses, mice, candles, maybe, whatever. Be aware of the thing, then the awareness of the thing, then your awareness of the awareness, which may be impossible and inaccessible and confusing, and that's fine. Then be aware of that, the fact that that is inaccessible and confusing. Feel that feeling. If you are able to get into the awareness of the awareness of the awareness, feel the invitation is to feel the feeling of those levels of awareness. I think that made sense. And if it doesn't, you get to feel the feeling of me not making any sense. And that'll be, I'm sure, quite fun too. So we're going to do this one for 3 minutes. Find an object, be aware of it, find the awareness of the awareness, etc., and then feel the feeling as you do that. That was 3 minutes of that experiment. Who has a question or an experience they feel like sharing? I love how sometimes these invitations are huge for some people and others are like, ugh, I'm just going to feel my breath. The experiment is custom built for you by you. Some of these are just like for people, and others, it's mind boggling. The biggest, craziest moment of the experiment ever, I think there for me anyway, which it's like, how do I even compare any moment? But there was this one moment where I had a moment where I finally really trusted the experiment. And there were 3 people on the call. I did an experiment. I sat and just suffered through the whole thing thinking you've lost your mind. And when you open your eyes, Sarah, they've probably all logged off because that was so dumb. I was ready to apologize. And then everybody who was on the call was like, that changed my life. So this is how the experiment works. It's custom built for you, by you. An invitation to feel one thing will send you somewhere else. Feel that, whatever that is. Walking down the street, an invitation to feel something will show up. Feel the feeling. Feel the feeling of it. Other people might walk by and not get an invitation at all, which is so weird and so awesome and why I love this so much. One of the many reasons I love it so much. Anybody else have an experience they want to share from that one? Some wise person, it might be Alan Watts or somebody, I'm so good at misquoting people. It was probably the caretaker of this building who said this, not Alan Watts. Said, enlightenment is intimacy with all things. So your water bottle, your stuffed animal, a light bulb, I don't know, whatever. I'm just saying things, as well as yourself and the people you love the most. And yeah, again, I don't know who said it. Probably Kim, the caretaker here. But you might want to look up and see if Alan Watts said it. I'm not sure. Somebody said that. Ooh, oh my gosh. Anyone else have something they want to share or a question from that one? I feel like I saw something, but I think it was actually someone muting themselves. Okay. Okay, we have about 9 minutes till we're going to close up. I wrote something down. What did I write down? Oh, we already did that one. Okay. Here's the invitation. Feel a project, a creative project you want to do that you have not done. And I'm defining creative with a wide range of definition. It doesn't have to be a pot you want to turn or a painting you want to paint. It could be a workshop you want to give or a new carpet you want to put in, right? So anything creative that you just haven't done. The invitation, and we'll do this for 2 minutes, is to feel that project in whatever phase it is. Idea, just getting started, totally done, whatever. Feel that creative project you want to do. That was time. Who has a question or an experience from that one you'd like to share? Thank you for sharing that. Along that line, mine was like, bitch, let's go. What are you waiting for? I think mine's impatient with me. Like, come on, you've been talking about this for years. Let's go. Or I'm going to go find someone else. You fool. Yeah. In the most loving possible, impatient way that it could be. Yeah. Fun. If you don't know the book Big Magic, it's so groovy. It's such a cool way to think, in Gabby's opinion and mine, and I can see another person's face agreeing, a cool way to think about creativity and life, actually, I think, even though it's a book about creativity. Really fun, by Elizabeth Gilbert. Such a good book. And I happened to be listening to a podcast that showed an interview of her just over the weekend. So, boop, yeah. Actually, whoa, okay, everybody. Have you listened to the telepathy tapes? Oh, look at that cat. Okay, sorry, you can't all see. I'm seeing a really cool cat face right now. Whoa, that cat knows shit. Whoa, oh my gosh. Okay. The Telepathy Tapes is an incredible podcast. I was listening to the second season, which had Elizabeth Gilbert on it. But you have to get through, I mean, you could just go to the second season. You don't need to have season 1 to make season 2 make sense, although they do make a lot of references in season 1. Or I'm sorry, in season 2 to season 1. The concept of the podcast is, thank you for that cat experience I just had. The concept of the plot of the podcast, I don't know, you get what I'm saying, is a woman did a deep dive into a phenomenon that she learned about in this world, which is people who have, I don't know if the word severe is the right word, the kind of autism they have. One of the ways it manifests is they cannot speak with other people. And she learned about a phenomenon of parents and teachers saying that the people that they love, who they care for, who cannot speak, are telepathic and are knowing what they're saying. And she did the first season of the Telepathy Tapes, is looking into this concept of people having telepathic abilities. Anyway, wow, that was a really long description of that, but it's mind-blowing. So, okay, at least one of you just got it on your phone. So, okay, that's a fun little, well, it's not a tangent, whatever. It's a fun little fact out there. Really fascinating. And there was an interview with Elizabeth Gilbert in the second season that I happened to listen to over the weekend, and now here's Elizabeth Gilbert again. So when things like that show up in your life, pay attention, feel them. That is an invitation from the experiment, also from Sarah Stern. Okay, we're getting close to the end of our time here. Let me look at, a lot of notes have come flying out of me. Let's see. Okay. There was one other thing. It didn't get written down. Telepathy tapes. Okay, here it is. At least in my imagination, for some people on this call, the concept of telepathy is like, what the hell is Sarah even talking about? For others on the call, it's like, oh, I've got to know about that. Others, they're like, Sarah, catch up, let's go, right? So of course there's this long, and of course there's a part of me that feels all of those things too. We're not going to do this now. Oh, well, no, we don't have time. We're not going to make time. We're starting to land the experiment plane for the week. Here is my invitation to you. When you bump into concepts that you have an aversion to, feel the feeling of the aversion. That's the invitation going forward. It might be the concept of telepathy. It might be the concept of someone's political views. We're starting to get into the holidays here, right? We're bumping up against that, at least in a lot of families. It might be somebody's political views, or understanding of the economy, or opinion of you. right? Any concept that just you're like, ugh, I don't want to go there. My invitation to you is to simply feel the aversion to it. Like, feel the fact that you're like, I don't like that. You don't even have to change your opinion. I'm not even in any way suggesting that. I'm suggesting a great invitation I've noticed in my life with the experiment is when I want to, like, sometimes even there's ideas that I notice I physically move away from. Feel the feeling of that is what the invitation is. And with that, as we're finishing up our time together, I just want to say this. In my experience, and I know of so many others who come to this call or participate with the experiment in other ways, the experiment really shows up in a nonstop invitation to feel things. Whether it's somebody's bad driving or a hug you get from your enthusiastic hug you get from your niece. I got a bunch of those this weekend and it was so amazing. A memory, a smell we just discovered. Of course, so many memories smells and memories are so linked. For smart people who understand brains, there's a reason for that. If taking all of the invitations life gives you is overwhelming, which it may be, my invitation to you is to simply notice, oh, there's an invitation, there's an invitation, there's an invitation. Just doing that is really powerful. I've noticed as I do the experiment more and as others who participate here do the experiment, our egos sometimes want to tell us what silly fools we are, because this does kind of mess with our egos. So my invitation to you is to keep track of the ways your life is changing as you do the experiment, because it probably is. And you might not even notice the changes. Other people might say to you, you're different. You look different. You feel different. You're chill. You responded in a different way. And by the way, I'm not saying the experiment is a promise that you will have that, but it is likely. I'm seeing that in my life and other people's lives. Keeping a journal or keeping track of that is a great idea. I have a Marco Polo group where people share their evidence that the experiment is working. This is a free group. Please let me know if you want to be a part of it. I'll put my email in here. Send me an email and I'll put you in there. Send me an email, even better, with your cell phone number, because the only way I know to invite you is by texting it to you. I also am doing an experiment with the experiment starting in 2 days. I'm doing a 10-day, I call it an unchallenge, because there's really nothing new, different to do. So it's an unchallenge. But for 10 days, a group of us in a Marco Polo group are going to pick a thing in our lives that will be our, like, some smart person called it a speed bump to cause us to pause and feel our feelings. So we're all going to pick a thing that is our cue to feel our feelings, and then report back as we wish. I'm charging big bucks for this. It's $25. So if you would like to participate, what do they say? Remember the old commercials? For the cost of a cup of coffee every day, but I don't think you can get a cup of coffee for $2.50. So less than a cup of coffee. So let me know if you want to be in on that. We're going to see, like, it might be a flop, and then I get to feel the feeling of it being a flop. So, it'll be great either way. What else do I want to say? Please remember, this is not meant to be a discipline or a practice or a thing you do. It is simply a thing you respond to, because the experiment is constantly saying, hey, 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 here's a thing to feel. That's the only thing this is an invitation to take those invitations. I feel like in my really organized anal thing, I have other things I like to say here, but I cannot remember what they are, so they must not be important. I do want to say this. I have had a Marco Polo group going. It's one-sided, where I go in and make invitations to feel your feelings. I am starting to move that over to Instagram, because I know this sounds weird, but I'm going to say the experiment is telling me it wants to be bigger and I need to get out of its way. And so one way is I'm having the nerve to say weird shit on Instagram. So please go if you're interested. Oh, thank you for the celebration on that. Follow, it's Try the Experiment, and it's really embarrassing in its current form, but also not embarrassing at all. Because for one, I have this person on my team, hello, who loves like editing shit and making it be out there, and I don't even touch it. So the experiment just wants to happen. So please go follow it. I'm putting invitations out there. Some of them are coming from here. That's why I record this. They're editing out never your words, never your voice, never your comments, just the stuff that I say, so that it can go out and run wild out in the world. Okay, where are we? Okay, I think that must have been the last thing to share. So I'll see you out there in a public forum with me talking funny, crazy stuff that is not crazy or funny. It's totally available to all of us. Thank you for being here. And I'm just going to say there will be a day that all of us sit around a table someday. That's going to happen. We have sat around this virtual table today. Oh, someday we're all going to sit around the same table. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Oh my gosh.